Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford studio this afternoon. We will talk about Ole Miss's basketball win over Mississippi State last night. The Rebels go to Starkville and knock off the Bulldogs 64-46 on a big night from Devontae Shuler. Jarkel Joyner chipped in a little, KJ Buffin, and more. So we'll talk about that, what happened in the game, what it means, if anything, and more. Ole Miss baseball announced their attendance policy for the 2021 season. We'll hit that, plus a couple other baseball notes as well. Phillip Rivers retired is another piece of that class that has had a lot of success throughout its NFL career is hanging it up. So we'll talk about that and more on the show today. A show brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Download the Speed Pass Plus app. Use it. It's an efficient way right there at the pump to go about your day as quickly as possible and save some money in the process. You earn points and save money with the app with the Oxford Exxon and all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. You can pick up the lunch special at $5.69 every single day. 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drink there at the Oxford Exxon. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number and ask for my friend Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. You can shop it around. See if you can use it as a gauge elsewhere. No skin off his back. Or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. You will love the service. You'll love the product. Corey wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy, and he'll prove it to you when you make the call, 662-257-1900. We are also brought to you by our Rafters Music and Food guest. Join us on the Rafters Music and Food hotline. And Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Be a great place this weekend to watch basketball. Ole Miss, Texas A&M, 2:30 on Saturday. A game that now has a little bit more interest than maybe it did just 24 hours ago. So that game's on Saturday afternoon. You can watch the rest of the league play. And then on Sunday, get some NFL. You can watch the NFL action starting that afternoon into the evening at Rafters Music and Food. Burgers, po' boys, shrimp, appetizers, beer specials, drink specials, the whole deal there at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford and also in New Albany.
I was looking a second ago. I was just kind of curious. The net is what matters, and again, we're a long way from anything mattering from a basketball standpoint with that. But I was curious where Ken Palm had Ole Miss, 52 as of right now, much better than I kind of anticipated after last night.
Well, their losses outside of one aren't terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Got to get some wins for this to become a conversation.
Sure.
But they got a good win last night. We'll talk about it in a minute. I don't know where A&M is. Probably in the same ballpark as Ole Miss, maybe a little bit lower.
I'm looking, I think 64, but I'm not 100%. I'll go back and look real quick.
And then they get Arkansas next Wednesday. Where's Arkansas as of right now? No, I think Arkansas plays Auburn today. Arkansas is probably in the rough same ballpark as Ole Miss.
Arkansas is 43.
Yeah. So they got a chance to go get one there. They've got a win over Auburn.
Actually, A&M's 113. Ken Palm does not like A&M
doesn't like them at all. So that's an absolute can't-lose game because they've already lost one absolute can't-lose game. Can't lose another one. But the loss to Alabama doesn't hurt them. The loss to LSU doesn't really hurt them. The loss at Florida doesn't hurt them. You got to get wins, but, we'll see. For the people that go, it's over. Not over. They've dug a hole for sure. But
Georgia was 90.
Yeah, that's the bad loss.
And Dayton's 74. Not a great loss.
But on the road.
Yeah, right.
It's the home loss that's the killer.
A little better than maybe we would have predicted a couple days ago. And Ole Miss did play better. We'll get into it in a second as we're starting the show. Ken Palm has Ole Miss finishing 13-11, 8-9.
Oh, he's got them losing a game somewhere to COVID.
Oh, because there's 18, aren't there?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be...
Oh, he has them not... Who does he have him not playing? What's he doing?
I don't know.
I'm looking at it here. He's got them beating A&M on Saturday, losing to Arkansas, beating Georgia on the road, losing to Tennessee, losing to Auburn, beating Missouri at home, losing to South Carolina on the road, beating State at home, losing to Missouri, beating Vanderbilt, and actually beating Kentucky.
Oh.
So, whatever. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah. 13, 11, 8, and 9. I don't know. Maybe there's a 50% in there some way, and he's just not calling it. I don't know what he's doing, but either way. Yeah, he gives Ole Miss a 77% chance of beating A&M on Saturday, according to his metrics.
77?
Yeah, 77.
They should win. They're better than A&M. Ole Miss is just kind of erratic, as you saw last night.
Schuler played well last night. I mean, he is their glue. When he does that, he gives them a chance to win. It's just he's never shown he's consistently been able to do that off and on. They really, frankly, dominated the entire game. I mean, State's last lead was at the 10:31 mark in the first half. I think 11-10 was the score. They cut it to 4 or 5 there at one point. Ole Miss went on another run, kind of extended it back out to 11 or 12, ended up extending it back out to 15 maybe before that run was over. But I think the news of the day in the story, Neal, was Kermit, different substitution patterns last night, left the starters in for a while, kind of let guys play through mistakes a little bit, something we've talked about. And then even when he did what almost resembled a hockey kind of line change, he left Schuler in, but he pulled everybody else, sorted out into a second team. They were able to hold and then extend off of that as well, and I thought that really kind of, frankly, put the game away even in the first half.
It's one game, and Romello got in foul trouble. Romello White got in foul trouble in the first 4 minutes. So I don't know whether that impacted his plan from a substitution standpoint. But they certainly looked different last night. And Kermit might argue this, but I thought Kermit coached differently last night. I thought he was less demonstrative after negatives than I've seen in the past. I thought he was more positive after positives than I've seen in the past.
Not typically his nature.
His teams always play for him. It's like when people go, well, he's lost this team. No, you know when a guy's lost a team because the team doesn't play very hard. They've played hard all year. At times they've played too hard. But I thought last night when State had a couple of chances like you were talking about where they cut it to 4 once maybe and they cut it to 5 and they made plays. They did not appear to panic last night. And Ole Miss didn't shoot the lights out either. Would they shoot 30-something%? I mean, they weren't blowing the – they didn't – I mean, Devontae was pretty solid from 3. Nobody else was.
Ole Miss was 45 from the field, 27 from 3, 87 from the line.
Made their free throws.
Yeah, 7 of 8. They really didn't get to the line much.
But they weren't making threes.
Mm-mm.
And they just played tenacious defense. Never really let up. They were very active. It was a game that I think you can build on, but now you got to go do it. But I thought they looked different. Look, Kermit's a human being. He heard the criticism. If he didn't read the Bryce Williams story, he saw it. He heard about it. I mean, unless he's in one hell of an echo chamber. He heard about it.
Sure.
Those quotes probably stung. He's got this veteran team and people like me asking, hey, you brought in Robert Allen. You brought in Demencio Vaughn and you're not playing him. What's up with that?
Matthew Morrell not getting minutes.
You know, Matt didn't play a lot last night either.
No, I know.
I don't think Crowley played at all. Or if he did, he played very sparingly.
Crowley did not play at all.
He didn't play.
Allen played, let's see, Hunter played 5 minutes. Allen played 8 minutes.
Demencio played like 14 or 15.
14.
Yeah.
Matt played 11. Schuler 33, Buffin 33. Joyner 36.
Rodriguez played a lot.
26. Romello 18, had some foul trouble.
Yeah.
Finished with 4 fouls.
Hadim played some.
16.
Yeah.
16 minutes for Hadim. He was only 1 for 6 from the field. He did have 5 boards, though.
Yeah, I thought his minutes first half were critical. I don't know. We'll see. You know, it's not a great team, but it's better than what they've played. They've lost some close games that they'd love to have back. He's going to have to coach them differently, I think. I think you have to look at it if you're him, and you have to look at the body of work, and you have to look at what some of the people are saying, and you have to go, well, you know, they're probably not all wrong.
See if it's a one game or if it's something Kermit's legitimately changing a little bit. I mean, because it's a valid thing. I mean, especially with guys, and then this is a positive. You got experience, but look, kids are different, programs are different. I mean, when Kermit took the Ole Miss job, and even beyond year one, because year one's kind of a different coaching job for everybody. You're inheriting this group that probably had been losing, and you have to treat them a little differently, and they've got to believe in you or whatever.
They've just been through a hell year before that.
But either way, no matter what, you recruit and you coach differently at Ole Miss than Middle Tennessee State. At Middle Tennessee, you've kind of got some mercenaries and some last chance guys, and you got guys that have been hardened by some bad situations, at least for them personally, at other institutions a lot of times. You know, a lot of Kermit's top players and some of his best teams were filled with cast-offs and last chances, and hey, we're all in this together, and it either works for none of us or all of us. And, you know, Ole Miss doesn't have that. They're recruiting in the SEC. It's a little more high society as far as kids getting appreciated over the course of their high school careers and AAU careers, and they're not necessarily used to some of that. I mean, it's a cross-sport comparison, but, you know, does Kermit have to do some sort of soul-searching kind of like Mike did a couple years ago when he started coaching a little differently and talked about different kids in 2020 than 2010? I don't know. We're just doing a podcast and talking. But I agree with you. I think last night that is somewhat of what it looked like. It looked like it was a little more encouraging, a little more positive, a little more, hey, they are what they are. Let's not break their confidence or myself. Let whatever's happening on the court dictate that, not me.
Just noticed after a couple of turnovers, and they didn't have many. Ole Miss only had 10, and the 10th was running out the clock at the end of the game. They had 9 real turnovers. He just didn't react the way that you've used to seeing him get so demonstrably angry and frustrated and just, you know.
Into the bench. Peace.
Yeah. It appeared to, and again, I'm watching television, but it looked like he kind of caught himself. I thought he looked different. I'll watch for it again on Saturday, and I'll watch for it again on Wednesday in Fayetteville, and we'll see what you start to see, because it could just be a one-off, or it could be. He got asked about it last night, not about his style, but he was asked about the substitution pattern, and he kind of danced around it. And like I said, it very well could have been impacted by Romello getting into foul trouble as early as he did, because Romello picked up 2 quick. And, you know, you're worried about Abdul Adu, who's a really good player who's been there for, I think, 17 years. And, you know, you're worried about him dominating the game, and that probably did impact some of the substitution stuff early, because I don't think Romello was coming out 4 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But give him a ton of credit, because there were people, self included, who were starting to think, yeah, this deal could go really sideways. And that was a big win. Now Saturday becomes another really big opportunity that you cannot blow. You have to beat Texas A&M, but they should. And if they do, then you start getting back into that territory where you have a chance to make some noise. You get Arkansas, who's not playing particularly well right now, and then next Saturday you get Tennessee, who just got skull-drugged in Gainesville yesterday.
You get Georgia first.
Oh, you go to Georgia? Okay.
Yeah.
And you can beat them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah, A&M, Arkansas, Georgia, Tennessee, Auburn, Missouri, the next little set of games.
I mean, of those, Auburn and Missouri are the toughest in my eyes. I mean, Auburn at home is going to be very difficult to beat. Missouri's good.
Mm-hmm. Missouri's in Oxford. They'll play them in Columbia later in the year.
Yeah,
Ole Miss 2-4 currently inside the SEC. Wins over State and Auburn, and then losses Georgia, Florida, LSU, and Alabama.
The Georgia, Florida, Dayton games sting right now. You give them 2 of those 3, and it's a different tune.
I'm just thinking State last night just kind of got popped in the mouth, never really recovered for the most part.
Thought Ole Miss's zone, when they used it, gave them trouble. And then if I'm Kermit, what is more exciting to me is the man-to-man defense gave them trouble. Your guys really defended, and State did not respond to it very well. They're not a great shooting team, and when they fall behind, it's kind of like a run-oriented football team that falls behind 2 touchdowns that suddenly goes, screw it, we got to go throw. And it spirals. There's a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, State really caught very little momentum. That one run that we mentioned when they cut it to 4, I think it was a 7-0 run, was the only run they had all night. They did not have another run of more than 5 points the entire game. So it was dictated by the Rebels from tip for the most part. Vegas knew something. Look, hey, 2.5 and went, hey.
Well, when Ben Mintz said it on Twitter yesterday, I thought, I'm glad to see you say that, because that was the first thought I had too, was that 2.5 points is a sucker bet.
Yeah, why is that line there?
Yeah. Devontae played really well.
He did.
He's played really well for about 3 games in a row now. He's been criticized, and a lot of people said Devontae can't carry a team, and he might not be able to carry a team. We'll see, but it's not a lack of effort.
No, I mean, 33 minutes, 8 of 13 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3 when the team was only 5 for 18. Nobody else hit them. And then 3 or 4 from the line. Didn't do anything stupid. Added 3 boards. Turned it over 4 times, but sure, 1 assist.
What I saw was a more tenacious defensive effort across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Guys dialed in. It's easy for people to come back and go, oh, you guys were really wrong. Yeah, I mean, I watched the Georgia game. There were a lot of people like, I didn't watch that. Well, I did. And Georgia, in the second half of that game, got one open look after another, one open drive to the basket after another. So you can criticize the people who are doing the criticism, but it is what it is. It's right there.
Florida did too.
When you're giving up 80% shooting in a half, 50 points basically in a half,
you're not providing much trouble there.
You're not guarding anybody.
Yeah.
And so yesterday they guarded. I mean, what did State get? 21 points in the first half. I mean, it was one hell of a defensive performance. Kudos to them, because that is their calling card. Their calling card to winning games is to not turn the ball over, because Ole Miss isn't going to light the 3-point line up. That we've seen that now. Their calling card to win games is don't turn the ball over. They didn't yesterday. It's to really defend and bother, to win in transition, and win on the glass. And they won the glass last night. And Mississippi State's typically a pretty good rebound team. And Ole Miss won. So they did a lot of the things that they have to do. In other words, they're going to have to kind of win dirty. I mean, I've got it up here on the thing. Jarkill got 12, which is nice for him. I thought Buffin had a Buffin game, 9 points, 5 boards. Luis Rodriguez had a Luis Rodriguez game, 6 points, 8 rebounds, made some ugly plays. That's what they have to do, because they're not going to be a team that gets 92 points making 17 threes.
Yeah.
That's not who they are. They don't have those shooters.
Yeah, it means you got to play with defense. You got to dictate rhythm, and they've struggled with length a lot this season. I still want to kind of see where that goes as it plays out.
The zone is becoming more effective.
Yeah,
except for the second half against Georgia when it just didn't work at all.
Looking around the league last night, some blowouts almost across the board for the most part. There was not a single-digit game out of the 4 games in the SEC. Tennessee, ice-cold shooting last night. The Vols fall to 10-2, 4-2 in the SEC. It's Florida and Mike White pop them 75-49 in Gainesville last night. Florida now 7-4, 4-3 on the season. Alabama sets an SEC record with 23 made three-pointers, blitzing LSU. They were up 60-32 at the half, outscoring them 45-43 in the second half and beating the Tigers 105-75. Alabama 12-3 overall, 7-0 in the SEC, still unbeaten. LSU 5-2 in the league, 10-3 overall as well.
LSU is good.
And
it's a talented team, and they give up 60 first-half points.
Well, gave up 60, and I know Bama shot, but I just mentioned length a second ago. LSU's got length in spades, and Alabama still navigated that defense like that. That's impressive.
Just got whatever they wanted.
Yeah, just white hot. Missouri knocked off Carolina 81-70 last night in Columbia.
Which Columbia?
Missouri.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Carolina still has not played basketball games. They're 3-4 overall, 1-2 in the SEC.
Yeah.
Now. They've had 3 different COVID pauses at this point. Missouri 9-2, 3-2. They're fine.
Mizzou's good.
Yeah. So Missouri moves up a little bit, but yeah, Alabama.
The guard for them, 14. He's been there forever. Tillman. He's a good player.
Jeremiah Tillman, 19-10 last night.
Really good player.
For Alabama, John Petty had 24 to lead the Tide. No idea what else they did. Jordan Wofford, LSU their leading scorer only had 11 last night.
He's from Alabama.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Bad night for him.
Tough night in Baton Rouge.
Well, I'm sure, given that he's an LSU student athlete, I'm sure he went home and behaved. Not like they've had any off the court problems the last couple of years.
Yeah, how was Will's mood last night during the game? Did he handle it well? Was he okay?
I didn't see. Yeah, I don't know who I'm talking. I know Tillman. I don't know. 14, the guard. I think he's number 14. They have a guard that played really well last night for Mizzou. I don't know. I wasn't paying close attention.
I don't know. Tillman Kid was their leading scorer. That's all I got. So
yeah,
I don't know. Anyway. All right, there's a little look at SEC basketball. Maybe we'll come back to it. We'll see where the show takes us the rest of it. First, tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We're also brought to you by Lammon's Fine Jewelry in Oxford. Lammon's, located at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford, has been serving the Oxford area for 73 years, from engagement rings to wedding rings to fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles. Lammon's is the gold standard in fine jewelry. You can visit them at lammonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. We're also brought to you by Muddy Water Camo. Go to muddywateroutdoors.com. Enter the promo code Rebel Grove through the month of January, through the 31st. Enter promo code Rebel Grove. You get 35% off on the heated jackets or anything else on the site for the month of January. It's cold out there. If you're one of the lucky ones that get into a baseball game, sometimes Swayze is the coldest place
It is
on Earth. If you're like me and you got some soccer tournaments coming up, so on some of these weekends, you know that Mother Nature finds soccer tournaments and finds those fields and makes them the coldest, dampest places in the world. Get that Tri-Zone heated jacket or vest. You'll love it. It's got 3 temperature settings. It's got triple zone heating with 2 elements in the chest, a large back element as well. Duck goose down insulation, windproof shell fabric, integrated iPhone charging cable inside the chest pocket. Enter promo code Rebel Grove and you'll get 35% off, and you'll get the free MyCharge portable battery, $49, and a Tri-Zone, free shipping as well on that Tri-Zone heated jacket. So you should check that out. Really cool. I've got one. Love it. You'll love yours as well. And if you're a hunter, I don't know how you guys get out there and do the duck hunting and stuff without something like that. You're freaking crazy. Anyway, we're also brought to you by Comer Heating and Air. Comer Heating and Air, the name you can trust, brings more than 50 years of professional HVAC experience to Oxford, Tupelo, and the surrounding area. Comer Heating and Air offering a special fall preventative maintenance agreement to make sure your heating system is running in tip-top shape. Make sure to call Comer at 662-801-1777 for all of your heating and cooling needs. We'll have picks up tomorrow, the NFC Championship game, the AFC Championship game. Those brought to you by the College Corner, your one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's cool. Go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Whether you're tailgating in Oxford or homegating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day. The largest selection of Rebel gear in Central Mississippi.
Podcast is brought to you by Northeast Spark. Northeast Spark, SPARC, service people across rural communities. 2 package available, the Ignite, which is 100 megabytes per second. Also available is Blaze, 1 gig. It powers this here podcast we bring it to you every single day. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. NeSpark, that's NESPARC.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service also available, as well as parental controls, network security, wireless mesh extender, and more. Call the office today. Again, 662-238-3159. You've got the lab on your tag. You got the coat now. We take it up hunting next. Is that where we're going? You're going to do some outdoors, some shotgunning?
You know, when I was in high school, one of my coaches wanted me to go duck hunting with him. And in hindsight,
you probably should have. Team building, you know.
Well,
might could have played a little more, gotten a little.
Probably would have helped with PT a little bit earlier in my career. Looking back on it,
just couldn't do it.
It's just not my thing. I have no problem with it.
It's my own problem. I don't enjoy nature enough where I just get cold and bored. Like, I'm just like, okay, great. Like, I get I'm sitting out here and I've got the serenity around me and whatnot, but I'm good. I mean, I've done it. I've done deer, hog, squirrel, duck.
I'd be scared of the hog hunting because if you miss and he comes after you.
Well, I mean, as somebody once told me, when they act like they're coming, they're not acting.
They're coming.
Oh yeah, like they'll rip you to shreds if they can get you. I mean, it's a razorback. I mean, do the math. I mean, the tusks are real. Yeah, my dad would hunt them with a bow.
That scare me to death. mean, I get the ducks, you know. The only thing about the duck hunting is you got to get out early in the morning, right? And it's cold and you're wet.
Yeah.
And that just sounds miserable as hell.
I knew that it was not my thing because I tried because of him. But, like, even when I kill my first deer, like, I do it and everybody's like, hey, you got this adrenaline rush? I'm like, okay. Like, fine. You told me to shoot it. I shot it. Great.
I'm the type that would kill the deer and kind of feel bad about it.
Yeah, it was just like,
I mean, I'd be like, was that really necessary?
Well, because the first thing in my head, it was, hell, now I've got to, like, clean. It's going to be 3 hours before I get home. Like, it just made my day worse, if you're honest. Like, now we got to go, like, skin it and do the whole thing and gut it. And, I mean, you know, I'm all my manual dexterity. I'm awesome with a knife and whatnot. So, I mean, it's.
Yeah, I'd be thinking about, like, the deer's kids. What did I just do?
Bambi is now trapped out there somewhere because of you. Yeah, you might want to start with dove or even like squirrel or something like 4-year-olds. I mean,
I've told you some guys around here that I'm friends with are always like they're going to take the big pheasant trip to like South Dakota or something.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they're like, you're coming. And I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well,
do you really?
Look, I know the people on that trip. That's a social trip.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be fine.
That's where we're hunting bourbon.
Yeah. I mean, look, there is hunting, but they literally bring the birds in and put them out over you for you to shoot, and you move on with your day. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
This isn't like Bear Grylls and we're out in South Dakota for a week. No.
Yeah, because I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
No. That's like glamping. That's that version of hunting, like going camping with all the amenities.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing whatsoever.
Yeah, because if I'm going hunting, I need some amenities.
Yeah.
And at least I'll admit it.
Oh, I have no desire.
I mean, it just doesn't. Not my thing.
Little news, baseball-wise. We knew this was the case, but right before we started the show, Ole Miss announces its attendance policy for the 2021 season with executive order for sure. It also mentioned SEC rule as well, but I was not aware of the SEC actually putting a rule because of different executive orders. But nonetheless, I do think executive orders will be what changes this one way or another. 25% attendance for Ole Miss baseball this season. Season ticket holders starting February 8th will be able to select one or both of half-season packages. Those will give you 4 weekends and then 4 midweek games on each package for a total of 8. There are 3 non-conference weekends, which are Belmont, ULM, and UCF, Central Florida, and then there are 5 SEC weekends. So half and half on those. I don't know how they're split. I have no idea. And I believe they're being grouped into
angry people.
Oh, well, I mean, as soon as I read that, I thought, I know a couple people that are really pissed off right now. People that have more tickets than they can get. I believe I saw maybe the total of 4 is the most you can get in one spot or with one account. I believe I saw that. Because they're grouped in 2 and 4, and I think 4 is the most any one account can get. Right field will be assigned reserved seating but general admission. So they will put tickets for sale the first of the week for each weekend. Students can go and pick them up again in 2 and 4 seat clusters for those student tickets.
I feel sorry for the security people. They're going to have to try to enforce that stuff. It's just
left field will be reserved for the weekend, general admission for the midweeks, if I have that right.
Okay.
And then the grandstand and box seats will also have some ability to maneuver game by game, if you will. Yeah, and they tell people, and this is important. If you're season ticket holders, if you're somebody that's trying to get into games, I hope people take advantage of the ways to put them on StubHub, to use the ticket exchange stuff, and try to maximize as much as possible. Because frankly, basketball is such a bad number that's not really applicable because it's such a small percentage of the attendance. But even football, they didn't do a very good job of that. People just kind of hoarded tickets and didn't use them, and they never got to some other people that might want to go. So hopefully, especially with baseball, because, look, sports are expensive. Baseball is priced in a way that anybody can get in, anybody can find a ticket. So hopefully as many people as possible can take advantage of that. But nonetheless, 25%. No, left field won't be closed. Left field will be, I think it's like reserve seating, and then on weekend.
You said reserve for the weekends.
Right, yeah. That's right. I was trying to look for it.
Limited general admission, but limited capacity on the weekdays.
Utilizing the preset camping chairs, left field will be reserved seating for weekend series and general admission for midweek games, with seating restricted to the chair groupings of 2 and 4. Coolers will be permitted for beverages and prepackaged foods, but tent, barbecue, and playground areas will be closed. A limited number of single-game general admission tickets will be available for midweek games.
Why are they closing the playground?
I don't know, because all the parks are open, so what difference would it be? Like,
That's what I'm asking.
If the rest of town is allowing the parks, why would the playground not be open? And I have no logical answer for that. I don't know.
That makes no sense.
Because aren't all playgrounds in town open? Is Avent Park open because it's wood? I know that was the last one they were trying to vote on or consider or whatnot, but
I don't know.
I mean, I'm trying just straight facts, but I know that was the last one to potentially be an issue.
It's going to be different.
Oh,
it's going to be really different. Chase and I were talking this morning. I mean, we're going to cover it differently. I think everything's going to be on Zoom. So we're going to do when Ole Miss plays a game on SEC Network or ESPN2 or whatever. TV, not stream.
Because that's every game.
Because that's just not really doable. But every time they play a game on network or whatever, we'll probably do a live show. Probably to it. We're going to do Sunday wrap-up shows where we take your calls and talk about it. So hopefully they're good.
As long as the interest is there.
As long as the interest is there. Yep. But it's going to be different. The whole baseball as an event thing.
Well, I mean, look,
kind of minimized.
That's what I'm. Yeah, look, that's minimized. What I can pull off at a game is such minimized. I mean, that's what we're talking about. I mean, I don't know a purpose right now. If I'm actually having to sit in a press box and then do Zoom, what? Because I can't see. I think that's what some people miss too. Our seats at baseball games are where I have no idea where the ball's crossing the plate. I leave ESPN3 up on my computer to watch it cross while I'm watching. I mean, frankly, unless I know some people, but unless I'm going to pick a game and go sit behind home plate with an actual ticket where I can see and video or do whatever from there, I don't know a purpose. I mean, I don't see why what I'm getting out of that.
There's not one.
No, I mean.
So then you get into a comfort thing. And people get mad at me when I say this, but this is not debatable. It's more comfortable to sit in a room like this one and watch television than it is to go to a game and have to wear a mask. And then when it gets warmer and it's 80-something degrees and you're having to wear a mask for 3.5 hours. And I know people say, oh, the masks aren't that bad. Okay, but it's not as comfortable as not wearing a mask.
Sure.
That's not debatable. That's not political. And this is all season. Like I told you today, I don't think there's going to be an SEC tournament.
I just don't see how any conference tournaments in any sports happen.
I don't either. So who knows? It's going to be weird. So we'll cover it differently. We'll do it kind of like what we did in football, where that appeared to be pretty popular. And I haven't done it in basketball yet. I haven't done like the post-game basketball thing yet because the interest hasn't been there. If they get on a roll and the interest is there, I'll do that too. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I've finished the 10 observation things, and the Ole Miss is great about, especially on the road. Wow. Like Kermit's deal last night was 3-4 minutes after that game was over.
Was it really?
It was fast. I mean, I could go live on a show 15 minutes after the end of the game, having pretty much done my work.
Right.
So we'll see.
Neal was wearing an OUB hat. I guess coming through.
Yeah, Oxford University Bank.
Yeah.
Live Oxford
You can tell
Bank,
about it if you like.
Oxford.com.
I mean,
We'll tell you about it a little bit more in a little bit. They've got Kasasa. It's the absolute best cash checking account. With Kasasa, you get 2.5%. You keep 2.5% interest on your balance up to $50,000. They refund ATM fees nationwide. Live Oxford Bank, Oxford.com. 662-234-6668. They're also FDIC insured.
They are. That's pretty good. Not from memory. Yes. Done it once or 10 times.
I've done it a couple times. But yeah, that's the hat.
Ole Miss starts official team practices January 29th.
Baseball.
Yeah, sorry. Spring practice dates we are not aware of, guys. We might not ever be aware of them. But
true.
That's another day's story. But Yeah, I made a post. Everybody's healthy. I've been getting asked about Derek Diamond a pretty good bit. He's full go. He's 100%. Ole Miss, Mike was never going to make the wrong decision here, but completely the right decision to hold him out of the fall, let him heal for sure off that forearm strain. Because forearm strains turn into Tommy John in a hurry if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So he's healthy. Velocity's back. All good there for who is likely to be Ole Miss's number 3 starter when they open up in February. Justin Bench is healthy. They're good. I think even all their COVID tests were negative this week, so they're good. Have on.
Well, they've all had the COVID.
A lot of them have had it. Yes, that's.
I mean,
yeah. Like I said, got a tongue in cheek. Mike said, "Well, there's not a whole lot left. I mean, it's kind of like whatever." But they are worried about any semblance of false positives and things because they have to all retest after a certain number of days. Let me get this right. And this is one of those things where there's been a lot of things the last couple of days where I'm like, can you believe we're even having this conversation? But me having to memorize these type of rules kind of falls into the thing. So if a player's had COVID, he doesn't have to test again, just like standard mandatory test for 150 days.
Right.
But after 90 days, he can be contact traced into having to test if he was around someone who tests positive. So there are 2 categories.
Okay,
there.
so are they like the NBA? Because like Kevin Durant recently.
Okay.
Kevin Durant, who's recovered from COVID.
Okay.
Contact traced. So they tested him for antibodies. He was positive. Tested him for the virus. He was negative. And they still made him sit 10 days because he was contact traced. How's that work? Do they check for antibodies and do the test?
I know there have been antibodies tests, but I don't know if they are weekly as well. I have no clue. I don't know. And some of Ole Miss's problem, I'm going to be careful on names here. Some of Ole Miss's problem is that a few of their better players haven't had it. So it's almost kind of like, just keep that in mind.
Wow.
As the time plays out.
Because 80% of them have had it.
Yeah, it's fairly bad luck if we're honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I need to shut up. But yeah, and there's a little bit. I just now got by the way, I just got a media advisory. Let's see if it actually gives me teams because this thing did not get. Okay, I don't know why this opener in Arlington, everybody's playing Coy. It makes no freaking sense at all.
Okay.
I don't understand because on the schedule, we've known for 3 years who the 6 teams are that are playing in this tournament on February 19th.
Maybe they're not the same 6 anymore.
Well, they may not be. That's what I'm getting at. But all the SEC schools, I believe, are because they've all put it out in their schedules. I think Arkansas has already announced they're one of them. I think State announced they're one of them, and Ole Miss has as well.
Okay.
So it could be a Big 12 thing. But on Ole Miss's schedule yesterday, it had the Rangers logo instead of the teams they are playing those 3 days.
Maybe they're playing the Rangers.
Maybe so. I just got a media advisory a second ago that says they will announce details to the media at 11 a.m. tomorrow for this event. That Ole Miss is one of 6 schools from the Southeastern Conference and the Big 12 Conference that will be playing in the event. The executive vice president of the Texas Rangers and then the 6 coaches from the 6 schools will be on the call at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So, anyway, there's
Maybe
that.
they just want some suspense.
Maybe so. I don't know. But barring someone pulling out of the stupid tournament, it's Texas Tech, TCU, and Texas. So I don't know. Whatever.
I'll be really curious if they even fool with attendance.
Attendance?
Yeah.
Like fans?
Yeah.
At all?
Well, because you have to staff the stadium and stuff. Do they?
I guess my only question though is if even if it's a quarter, 25%
that's
Texas
what it would
rule,
be for a Rangers game.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're staffing it the same as if there were no COVID because they're not putting any more than that in anyway.
Right.
So that's the only thing is, hey, is this a chance to have what a normal event would theoretically look like because we're not putting 31,000 in there for Texas and Arkansas or Texas and Ole Miss or
could be
or whomever. I don't know. I mean, we'll find out tomorrow, I guess, but yeah. So I guess point being, if you're listening to their podcast, we'll talk about it tomorrow or on the site whenever they tell us what's going on. But nonetheless, 11 o'clock for that one. I will not give out the Zoom link. That would be bad.
That would be frowned upon.
I would get in trouble for that one probably. Yeah, I would probably get a call on that one.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised nobody's like screwed up on that, honestly, over the course of the year at some point, one not getting getting
I know.
leaked.
I've been shocked that nobody ever got on the Kiffin Zoom.
Just
I
I know some people hide on there a little bit,
Really?
like they aren't supposed to. Yeah, they'll call in because you don't see who actually is using phones
Oh yeah,
when it's whatever. So
they're not actually on their
video,
yeah.
yeah. So anyway, podcast brought to you in part by G&M Pharmacy and Tyson Drugs. 662-236-2222. With G&M, they deliver locally in the Oxford area. They offer MedSync to fill your prescriptions the same day every single month to make it easy on you. One trip, whether it be delivery or pickup at the pharmacy on South Lamar Boulevard. And they will help you out there, as well as with Right Way Meds. They'll individually package your medication to make sure you take it the time and day you need it. For some people, that is a life-saving measure, and it can be something you can take advantage of as well. Again, 662-236-2222.
podcast also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust, based in Madison, Mississippi. They represent clients in more than 20 states. They've got advisors in multiple states as well. Founded in 1997, Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. They treat investing like a commodity, decisions made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan built just for you. It's pintrust.com, PINNtrust.com. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You get 10% off your first year's fees. We're also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. John is part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits simply not available to other travelers. If you're thinking about traveling this summer, maybe you're thinking about a holiday trip in December, get in touch with John. Just give him some parameters and a budget, not perimeters, parameters, and a budget, and he'll give you options. You can sit back, just let him do his thing, and he'll give you options that you won't find on your own. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off your first book trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And I've got my mailbag up at rebelgrove.com, part of the Rivals Network. That mailbag is brought to you by Whitney McNutt, Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. You can get in touch with her at 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844.
So, let's see. What do we got? Phillip Rivers, Hall of Famer, yes or no?
See, I think so. People do this debate about is he in the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Very Good. He's certainly in the Hall of Very Good.
No doubt. It's like the fourth leading passer in NFL history. Is that right?
Yeah.
Fourth or fifth?
I mean, he played for so long. That same class.
16 or 17 seasons.
Same class with Roethlisberger and Eli Manning. And I just think they're all Hall of Famers.
The no ring is the only real negative, obviously. Never played in one.
Yeah.
One AFC title game, maybe two.
Played in one without an ACL. He had torn his ACL.
Yeah. Not all his fault, but I at least listened to the no.
Yeah, I listened to it. I don't think he's the sure thing that I think Eli is. I don't think he's the sure thing that I think Roethlisberger is.
Fifth all time, 63,440. 2004 to 2020.
He's going to get in because of the way the NFL does the Hall of Fame. It's going to take him a while. By the time he gets in, he'll have 27 kids. I mean, he's a fertile dude. What, they have like 9 kids?
I did laugh. I guess it was the Indy Star or the AP that started the Rivers thing, and the lead was Dadgummit something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, his letter today was classic.
Yeah.
I mean, he loved to trash talk and whine to officials a lot. What I remember, Grind, you'll love this in the thread. What I remember about, I was covering Auburn at the time, about Rivers was he was coming out at a time when I guess Auburn already had a quarterback or whatever, and Auburn wanted to recruit him and move him to tight end. And so Phillip ended up at NC State, ironically being –
because he would have been coming in – oh, yeah, I mean, hell.
They had Jason Campbell.
Yeah.
He would have he ended up at NC State, and he put up great numbers. And one of the funny things was that, if I remember correctly, Noel Mazzoni ended up coaching him some at NC State.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so it was kind of funny, you know, that because I would always harass Noel about it. Like, well, it all worked out, but what an evaluation mistake, huh?
Athens, Alabama, huh?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. His dad was a football coach, I think. Had a hell of a career at NC State, and then, you know, got caught up in the whole Eli Manning thing with the Chargers and the Giants. And for a while, people thought, you know, boy, the Chargers really got the best of that deal. And then Eli did his thing.
Shows you how much football's changed. I know this is a duh thing, but active quarterbacks right now, number 1, number 2, number 5, number 7, number 9, number 11, and number 16 and number 19 in the top 20 all-time passing yards.
Yeah, the game's so different.
Yeah. I mean, you can't even – it's impossible.
So one of my mailbag questions today was
– it makes you really appreciate Dan freaking Marino.
Yeah.
83 to 99 in the amount of yards he has.
One of my questions in the mailbag was top 5 quarterbacks since the 80s go. And I was like, whoa. So I wanted to do it without like going or referencing numbers. Mm-hmm. And it was a little harder than I thought it would be.
Manning, Breeze, Brady all made it.
Yeah, I had
then Marino and Elway.
I had Brady number 1, Manning number 2. I had Montana number 3.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you had Marino and Elway for some reason.
I actually had Elway 6th.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, you did 6.
I did. Well, I did 7 because I put Trubisky at 7.
Okay.
But I did 6. And then you start thinking about the other guys. Like, where's Roger Staubach? Where's Steve Young? Where's Brett Favre? Cats that had real success now. I mean, when you stop and you go, okay, because I did it after I was done. Let's pull up Steve Young. And you're like, whoa, that's a hell of a resume. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
you do the Brett Favre, and then you dive into Staubach, which played at a completely different era than today. And you remember, you probably don't. You were too young. I remember how dominant Roger Staubach was.
Oh, no, I have no recollection at all.
And then, and Georgia Rebel makes a great point. Then you go, well, what about Aaron Rodgers?
You know, you want to guess where Roger Staubach is in all-time passing yards?
He's way down.
94.
Yeah. But anyone who grew up watching him play knows how good he was.
He's sandwiched in between Neal Lomax and Babe Perrell. That's where Roger Staubach is.
No, it included the 80s, Ben.
Archie Manning is at 85, by the way, for anybody who cares.
And then the other question I asked myself, and it's too early, but I said, what about Mahomes?
I was only 4 when he retired. The interesting name on this list, because frankly, other than Fran Tarkenton, he's the only guy from kind of back in that era, Dan Fouts.
Whew.
Dan Fouts at 18 all-time still. That's really impressive.
I mean, he was great.
Fouts, 73 to 87, 43,000 passing yards.
Air Coryell, I mean, they threw it.
Yeah. Yeah, top 20 for anybody who cares. Breeze 1, Brady 2, Peyton 3, Favre 4, Rivers 5, Dan Marino 6, Roethlisberger 7, Eli 8, Matt Ryan 9, John Elway 10, Aaron Rodgers 11, Warren Moon 12, Fran Tarkenton 13, Carson Palmer 14, Testaverde 15, Stafford 16, Bledsoe 17, Dan Fouts 18, Flacco 19, Kerry Collins 20.
Kerry Collins.
95 to 2011, Kerry Collins. Yeah. Played for 6 teams, by the way.
Fran Tarkenton. That was the first Super Bowl I remember watching. It was the Raiders and Vikings. They played at the Rose Bowl. I can remember talking about Fran Tarkenton with my dad and Ken Stabler. John Madden was the coach of the Raiders.
8 of the top 27 all-time passing yards quarterbacks played for one team in their career. Only 8 of 27.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Eli knew what he was doing.
Yeah, Eli is the number 3 all-time passer to have played for one team. Marino 1, Roethlisberger 2, Eli, Matt Ryan, Elway, Rodgers, Stafford, Dan Fouts. That goes all the way down to 28, Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
So, really good story in The Athletic today, by the way, on the new Falcons GM, Fontenot. Started 17 years ago as an intern with the Saints and worked his way all the way up now to the Falcons general manager.
I did see that because he was choked up talking about Mickey Loomis.
Yeah, because Loomis, when Blank asked permission, again, back to the permission thing, to speak to Fontenot, Loomis told him that basically you're making a great hire because I wanted him to replace me when I'm done. The Saints had kind of prepared him to replace Loomis whenever Loomis is finished. And the story had a pretty sentimental hook. It talked about 17 years ago. He was a fifth-year senior at Tulane, and he had an interview with the Saints as an intern to try to find out what he was going to do with his life, and he realized he didn't have a tie. And he went to the Dillards in Lakeshore in New Orleans and said he finds a tie, and he's like fumbling with it in the store, and some lady that worked there came over and helped him tie his tie. Well, fast forward to this week, and he starts looking for a red tie, which worked for the Saints for 17 years. They don't have red ties. That's not a thing. Yeah. So he couldn't find a red tie. And he told his wife, said, hey, I've got some stuff to do. Go buy me a tie and come back and whatever. So she gets back, and he doesn't like it. So he goes and he buys a red tie and realizes he's in the exact same Dillards as 17 years ago buying a tie, and said he kind of choked up in the shopping center and said that's –
Yeah.
So –
thought you were going to tell me it was the same woman still there.
No. Mike had that problem when he got the Ole Miss job. He had to borrow a tie from John Schaefer because he didn't have a red tie in 2000.
Probably has a few now.
I can't imagine the number of red or navy ties that Mike Bianco owns at this point. Like, seriously, like it might even be a story this year. Like, what does your wardrobe look like after 21 years of – because Mike's always been that guy. He'll always have a jacket and a tie at the office just in case. Speaking engagements or whatever, it just kind of sits there. So I don't know. Or he did before COVID. I don't know what it looks like now, but nonetheless.
COVID attacked his tie collection?
Well, I highly doubt. I mean, I doubt you put it on Zoom. You know what I mean? I mean, I wouldn't think that'd probably be a thing. Yeah, the Falcons are interesting right now. I mean, look, I always hate them, but new coach, new GM, rookie, both. A lot of decisions on some dudes to try to figure out what you're going to do. I mean, what do you do with Matt Ryan at this point of his career? What do you pay Julio Jones at this point? Do you have enough pieces to try to stay, or do you just tear it all down and start over and rebuild the thing? I don't know. And how many of those decisions are based on what other teams are doing in your division too? Like, where do you think the Saints are in their window? Where do you think the Bucks are in their window? I mean, the Panthers clearly have kind of reset things in Carolina, inadvertently or on purpose. But
it's a tough decision to make in any sport.
When's time to back up?
Yeah, like the Cubs are doing it right now, and fans are losing their minds.
That's
like John Lester. And I'm going to write about this in 10 Thoughts a little bit. When I look back on this run that the Cubs had, first name that'll come to my mind is John Lester.
Is it really?
Yeah, because he was the first free agent that bought in. And he wanted to stay. He's got 190-something wins. He wanted to get his 200th win in a Cub uniform, but the Nationals offered him $5 million, and the Cubs are like, we're not winning.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? Tearing it down's hard. Like, if you're the Falcons, does it make sense to pay Matt Ryan anymore?
Not the price that typically would go for his level of quarterback.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-mm. And he doesn't have the, hey, you did this to make it where, hey, we just have to let him ride it out, kind of like the Saints did with Breeze, where it just sort of is what it is. Yeah. Ryan doesn't have that level of cachet. Doesn't have the ring.
We were asked several times about a Taiwan Malone chick that you must have posted.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. We'll make an exception here because I think you posted. I don't know whether Zach did.
I posted 2. Zach posted 1 about Taiwan Malone today.
Okay. We try not to give away all of the recruiting stuff on the podcast because it's one of the things that we keep behind a paywall. But his deal, because I think it's going to be so baseball-oriented, and he's coming this weekend, He's doing a Zoom call tonight with Ole Miss. Is
with
that
the
right?
baseball staff.
With the
That's
baseball
correct.
staff.
That's correct.
There's been this assumption because of football and because the sites are so football-oriented that this is going to be a football decision. And I've been told for a while it's probably not going to be much of a football decision, even though it's going to end up being a football player.
It's a football scholarship because the way this works is football obviously gives the scholarship, and he's technically a walk-on for the baseball team. But the kid loves baseball. So he has made this into a two-sport recruitment at most, and frankly, a pretty baseball-centric recruitment. As we've heard a lot of the ebbs and flows over the course of his recruitment, it's been kind of how baseball has presented itself. The rumors or scuttlebutt or whatever you want to call it is that A&M has not given him maybe the plan some other schools have done. I'm being pretty careful on that because I know how A&M is. I know that they get a lot of guys, and I've learned over a decade I'm not ever saying anybody's out. But you hear a whole lot of what Ole Miss has been able to do with Carl and Mike, and you hear a whole lot of what Florida State has been able to do with Mike Martin Jr., and that those two have really presented very good plans. If you're Ole Miss, though, you get final visit. You got a Zoom tonight. When it comes to simply recruiting, they're elite baseball recruiters, and you see where you're at. So that's kind of where it's at for Tywone Malone right now. And also, here's the thing, too. Ole Miss, fortunate, I don't want to say lucky because it wasn't necessarily lucky, fortunate. Tywone Malone took a weekend baseball visit the week before the pandemic hit to Oxford. He was in Oxford the last weekend before all hell broke loose. So he's seen the facilities, he's seen the weekend, he's done the whole thing. I mean, he's already had an official visit from that kind of standpoint.
Right.
So that gives you a huge leg up versus, even though he's taken all these visits, and look, we know how this is going to work, or has worked at different places and here too. It's not like it would have been if everything was wide open. So that is a huge benefit for Ole Miss, and he's been able to do that to this point. So, yeah, that's Tywone Malone for the day. We'll fill you in as it goes. I assume he will be a signing day decision. I highly doubt he says anything publicly before then.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Signing day's 2 weeks from today.
It is, yes, exactly. 2 weeks from today. Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com. The Fiber Arts Festival still ongoing tomorrow and Friday. Kids can pick up their children's fiber art kits to go. Those are provided by the UM Museum. Also, the Fiber Art still located in 3 locations downtown, including Faulkner Alley. That's the children's exhibit. Oxford Square North, where the Fiber Arts competition and exhibition is going on. And then the William Faulkner statue is dressed for the festival occasion in City Hall. They're doing outdoor fabric swaps at the Powerhouse through the 23rd and more. Pretty cool stuff there if you'd like to check it out for something different. You can find out more fiber.oxfordarts.com.
We're also brought to you by Bain, Moss & Bowen, located in historic downtown Corinth. Their firm practices a wider range of law, from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. Bain, Moss & Bowen is the only firm in Mississippi made up of a sitting state legislator, a former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit court judge. Their experience is unmatched in that regard, and you can tap into it by visiting them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth, or by calling them at 662-287-1620. We're also brought to you by Alpha Specialties, located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. It's your trailer-specific professionals. If you want to haul it, they can call it. Alpha is the premium trailer dealership in Mississippi. They've got Load Trail. They've also got Hallmark cargo trailers, one of the most quality cargo trailers on the market. It's perfect for hauling goods to markets and shows, ATVs to deer camps, and more. They can also work with third parties to have game day trailers and concession trailers built just for you. For podcast listeners, Alpha has spare tires and wheels starting at just $100. They have a full selection of trailer parts and accessories, hitches, winches, straps, and more. They also do all types of truck accessories. Listeners can get 10% off a yearly trailer service and inspection at Alpha's full-service shop. They can repair all types of trailers, concession, horse, utility, enclosed, gooseneck, and RV. So give them a call at 601-932-9798 or check them out at alphaofms.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about Alpha on the MPW Digital Network of Podcasts. And we're brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best-fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. They have been advertising with us for the past 2 years, and we've always directed you to their DMs to set up a time to get measured. So now, whether you're coming to Oxford or not, you can visit BlueDeltaJeans.com to get measured by their new virtual tailor and design your own jeans. They're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I know Chase feels the same way. So go to BlueDeltaJeans.com, check out their virtual tailor, and try a pair of your own.
Kind of a random topic, but Dylan alerted me to this last night, and I guess I knew it, but I didn't realize the exact numbers about how baseball has changed to such an extent. It's very likely, at least in our lifetime, we will never have another 300-game winner.
Yeah.
A couple are theoretically possible if you really saw some resurgence late in their career, but probably not of anyone active.
The way pitchers come out now,
Yeah.
and you're preserving innings and that kind of thing, probably not. It would have to be somebody who starts piling up the wins at a really young age.
I mean, right now, the active leaders in wins, Bartolo Colon, 247. He's 47 years old.
Yeah, he's not getting there.
Justin Verlander, 226.
And he's hurt.
I mean, do you really think he's got 75 more wins in him?
Probably not.
If I had to pick somebody on the list, this is who I would pick, but I would pick the field and no. Zach Greinke, 208 at 36. Probably not, but
he'd have to have two 21,
22-year
22-year wins.
years.
And even then,
still got to find 60 almost.
Yeah, I bet against him.
Yeah, it's a no. Lester is what made me think of it. We go down to number 4 active. That's John Lester at 193.
Yeah, 193. I mean, I would think for John, he's 36 years old?
He is.
250 is probably out of reach.
Clayton Kershaw, 32 years old.
Yeah.
But 175. Tied with Max Scherzer, who's 35.
Clayton's got a shot.
Got a shot.
Not a good shot.
No. Because, I mean, is he pitching till he's 40? I mean.
Probably not. Why would he?
Yeah. Felix Hernandez, 169. Wainwright, 167. Hamels, 163.
Wainwright damn well better not get to 300, I'll tell you that.
Sorry, if you had to pick one, you'd pick the Cardinal. Just find some way in some fountain of youth and go, sure. Great.
Here's 57-year-old Adam Wainwright throwing 57 miles an hour.
I mean, nobody else is hardly under. I mean, Rick Porcello, 31 years old at 150, is the youngest person on this list.
Yeah, I don't like his chances.
Well, no, of course not. That's what I'm saying. David Price, 34 years old, 150. Urban Santana, 37, 149. Johnny Cueto, 34, 128. I mean, we're so far down the list now that it's not even.
Well, I mean, Lester's the great example. Lester's a innings eater. He won with the Red Sox. He won with the Cubs. And he's not going to get there. 250's his max. That'd be 57 more wins in his late 30s. That's not even realistic.
I mean, Garrett Cole, 29 years old, 101 wins.
Yeah.
No way.
No chance.
Lance Lynn has gotten over the 100-win mark, by the way. He has 104 now, all time.
Lance has had a real solid career.
This is what surprised me about it, and your guy here. And I know he's still pretty young, but the lack of wins still, because he's been in my mind for so long, Kyle Hendricks. 30 years old. We've been talking about Kyle Hendricks for what I feel like is a decade. 69 wins.
That's nice.
It is. That's it. I would have said over if he'd have said an over-under of 69 on Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah, it took him a little while to get to the bigs.
Well, that's a lot of these guys. A lot went to college. I mean, they were at 23, 24 when they finally got up. I mean, you get up at 24 and you win 20 games a year. You're still 29 when you get to 100 wins.
Hendricks has pitched a lot of games where he gives up 3 runs in 6 1/3 and leaves with the Cubs tied 3-3 or down 4-3 or up 3-2. And I mean, that's kind of his career innings. We talk about trading him to New York. That'll be sad. I like watching. One of the most fun things I've ever done baseball-wise was I got to sit really close behind home plate at Wrigley and watch Hendricks pitch.
Yeah.
It's like watching an artist. Everything's moving. Everything moves. Subtle moves.
If you'd like to be in the top 100 active wins leaders right now, you only need 44 wins. Get in the top 100. Something like that. Pomeranz has 47, by the way. He's at 94, tied with Garrett Richards and Hector Santiago and Noah Syndergaard.
Where's DeGrom?
I saw him. Where's DeGrom? He is at number 51, and he has 70 wins.
Wow.
Jacob DeGrom. He has 1 more than Kyle Gibson and 1 more than Kyle Hendricks, 3 more than Rich Hill.
Think of how long Rich Hill's been in the bigs.
He's 40 years old, 16 seasons.
He's got 66 wins, 67 wins.
67 wins in 16 seasons.
Unbelievable.
Just hanging on.
Made a lot of money.
Here's one I would have not. He's been around 13 years now. 38 overall, 80 wins. Jeff Samardzija.
Yeah. He kind of fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
Mother Nature did to him what she does to most everyone.
Strasburg has 112 wins at 31 years old.
Yeah.
Been in the league. See, he was a guy that, hey, could he stayed healthy, at least gives you that chance because he got in so early. He was 20 years old when he gets up, and you go, well, I mean, math says you got a chance. But, I mean, think what that really means. I mean, that's so many freaking wins.
Sure, it's 20 wins for 15 seasons.
Yeah, I mean.
Who does that?
Well, a very small list. That's the point. So, anyway, I don't know. Baseball nerd thing there, but I was looking at it. I saw some Tywone Malone questions. Look, he's not a bad baseball player. He's certainly a D1 prospect. Would he be recruited at a very, very high level were it not for football? No. But that does not mean he cannot contribute at some point. I think if he were just a baseball player, I think he would be in that, let's make him a Southeastern prospect, a Memphis, Arkansas State kind of kid, something like that. To me, he profiles a little bit as a Ben Van Cleve for current Ole Miss baseball players. There's not a ton of swing and miss. Well, there is some swing and miss, but he's got pretty good discipline at the plate. And because he's an SEC defensive lineman, he runs better than you think he runs given his size.
Yes.
I mean, it's not, hey, he's not going to be running a 6'6", 60, but he's not embarrassing you out there around the bases either. And he looks like a freight train when he does it, so it's kind of impressive from that standpoint.
Yeah, he's a big kid.
He's also banged up right now, so I don't know what that means for. I mean, he had surgery at some point.
Well, it's just so hard to do the two sports.
He's a first baseman, hitter, DH. I mean, let's not overcomplicate this. Something like that.
But we talk perception and reality all the time. His perception is that he wants to be a two-sport player, and so at this point, that is his reality as well.
And he's good enough that it's not a pipe dream. I mean, that's the thing.
Sure.
He's good enough that you go, okay, sure, absolutely.
Sure.
And look, some programs are more receptive than most. Ole Miss is pretty receptive about it. Some probably wouldn't have been.
Well, I think Lane's one of the coaches out there who's realistic about what spring football is and isn't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he gets it.
Of course.
Can't say it completely out loud, but
yeah. So.
Lane's in that group that I think if you say to him, would you rather have spring or some sort of a mini camp in the summer without contact, he'd go, oh, for the love of God, give me the mini camp. And I think that's where we're headed long term. I do think that's going to be one of the long-term ramifications of the COVID thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's my prediction. It's quasi-educated. I might end up being wrong. I don't think there's going to be spring football this year. I could be wrong, and if I am, so be it. Just kind of talking to people, and Chase knows some of the people I've talked to, and they all kind of think the same thing. And I do think there's going to be a season. I think it's going to be a full season. I think they're going to play 12 games. I think you're going to see some sort of a July-ish mini camp, no contact, 15 sessions kind of a thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think coaches are going to go, you know what, this is the way we like it. I like this. And I think it's going to sometime over the course of time become norm.
Yeah. Last thing, did you pick a team?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I've worked on something in the Notes app. I had a friend.
You're going to use the Notes app.
I am going to use the Notes app. I had a friend kind of throw me off this morning. He said, Dan Wolken really hates Clemson. I was like, ugh.
Can't jump on that bandwagon.
No,
at this point. Come on.
But that appealed to me, and it made me take a step back and say, I'm not ready to do this yet.
There's enough to postpone a decision.
I did formally decommit from ULM.
I saw that.
I've changed my Twitter profile and backdrop.
But it's just an N, right?
Just an N.
Oh, okay. It wasn't a logo.
No.
See, when I first saw it, I thought, he went Northwestern.
No.
Oh, okay. See, I
N,
thought we were going.
Like for Neal.
Okay.
And my background's just some trees.
I was really?
Yeah, just backed it off.
Stanford.
Won't be Stanford.
Okay.
It's too academic for me.
Oh.
Northwestern's out too. They've been eliminated.
You probably hate a lot of the Northwestern alumnus.
I wouldn't like them. I wouldn't like, and there's a lot of them that went there. I already know I don't like them. Mizzou's out. They've been eliminated for the same reason.
Yeah, oh, hell.
Yeah.
Come on. No. God, no. Okay. Well, maybe we'll have more on that tomorrow as we.
And look, I hear that people are passing money around these days in recruiting, and so I'm a capitalist. You know, if someone wants to, there's ways to make this happen. You could hide it in a super chat on a live show. There's ways to make this
as
work.
much as that was a lie yesterday, and it wasn't exactly how it went down. Credit to Florida's social media team. I enjoyed that last night. That was very, very good.
That was really good.
So, I mean, whatever. Hey.
Well, it's what I told you. I can't decide whether I love it or hate it. The McDonald's thing is going to become...
It's so easy.
It's going to become a fable that is going to essentially become true, and it's really not true.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to hear that it's not true.
I did laugh when I first woke up this morning because I pulled up Twitter as I always do, and the very first thing I saw was the meme or the Photoshop of Neyland Stadium, and running down the sidelines was the Hamburglar with the football on his arm, and he's scoring a touchdown in Neyland Stadium this morning. So that was
You've seen him running through the arches.
Yeah. So,
it's going to take him a minute to get past that.
It is. So whatever. All right. Hope you guys had a lovely day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good bit of stuff at rebelgrove.com. Neal's mailbag, which today we actually didn't need to use questions for the podcast. Plenty of content out there, but that is there, as well as those chicks on Taiwan Malone, some baseball stuff, and more, as well as coverage of Ole Miss's basketball win over Mississippi State last night. Again, 64-46, Rebels over the Bulldogs in Starkville, and Ole Miss host A&M on Saturday. So we'll talk to you again tomorrow.